Our next guest, JoAnn Hill, has written Secret Washington, D.C., a guide to the weird, wonderful, and obscure, and D.C. Scavenger. She's been eating her way through Washington, D.C. for over 20 years. She has written extensively about D.C.'s hidden histories and peculiarities, active pursuits, and vibrant food and drink scenes. Through her passion for food and adventure, she shares stories and tips that satiate, I love that word, the hungry enthusiast and inspire the curious traveler. Now she's here to talk about her latest book, Unique Eats and Eateries of Washington, D.C. JoAnn, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, I get hungry just even holding this book. Tell me about how this book came about.
This has been my biggest labor of love. So as you mentioned, I write DC guidebooks, and this was the book that I've always wanted to write. I'm this food enthusiast. I grew up in a very food-centric household. I've always loved food and been eating my way through cities and so forth. And so, this is a labor of love of telling stories behind the food. So interviewing chefs and restaurateurs and bakers and so forth, and sharing their stories and what led them to pursuing their culinary dreams.
I really think also this is a love letter to our city. This is just, when I'm looking through this, you can see how much you love every place, and you loved meeting all the people, and you loved sharing the experiences of how their restaurants came to be and how they brought to their food adventure. Tell me about some of your favorite places that you got to visit.
Yeah, so some of my favorites we were mentioning Maidan is definitely a favorite. Rose Private. Her restaurant is based on her travels all around the world, and so the food that is represented in her restaurant is so delicious, and the ambiance is really indicative of her world travels. I also love Masseria in Noma.
Oh, yes,
delicious Italian, like rustic Italian food that's just so soul satisfying. Albee in Navy Yard, as well as Chloe. And then, of course, I love the markets, right? Easter Market, so much history, the fish market down in Southwest. And I like the smaller places, too, so like Papooses in the corners of Columbia Heights and the Ethiopian food that's represented. Just so much good food. Puddin, which is delicious Southern food. I mean, I could go on forever.
There's so many amazing places. And at some of the places that you mentioned, you can really taste the heart and soul behind all of these delicious food. Has there been any place that has really surprised you, or you didn't really have a lot of expectations and then you started eating and you were just completely surprised?
Absolutely. There is a place called Amore Eats. It's in a Rockville Exxon gas station. And it's Taiwanese food. It is somewhere that you would never think of going as a destination to eat. And the woman who opened it was her dream. She wasn't able to open up a traditional brick and mortar, so she opened up in the Exxon gas station. The food is incredible. There's a dish called stinky tofu, which kind of stinks a little bit. And then you taste it, and it just melts in your mouth. Delicious beef noodle soups and curries, and it is fantastic. That was one of the biggest surprises for sure.
Looks like I'm going to head out to a gas station
after
this. Oh, well, it looks like I have a little bit of homework to do. JoAnn, if someone wants to find out more information, where can they go?
Yeah, so they can go to my website, JoAnnHillDC.com. My book is sold at local bookstores around the city, Boston Prose, East City, Solid States, all over the place wherever books are sold.
Awesome. Well, I already have my places I'm going this summer. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.